Good afternoon and welcome everyone to another great edition of Wellness Wednesday. Wellness Wednesday is brought to you by none other than Selma AIR. You see it right above me, Selma AIR. Y'all can log on and check out all the great things that Selma AIR is doing in and around the Black Belt. www.selmaair.org, and we'll tell you all about the organization. We are 26 years strong. We are celebrating World AIDS Day on Wednesday, December 1st. So if you'd love to learn more about that, please log on to the website. But in the meantime, it is Wellness Wednesday, and we have 30 minutes that we want to spend with you to help you be well. This is a series that was launched just a few weeks ago in hopes that we could not just only address HIV and the decisions that we make around our sexual health, but making sure that folks understand that wellness, happiness, it's an inside job. And we've got a key into that. And so to discuss our topic today, we have one of our awesome wellness navigators, Miss Shnell Nevins, with us. She is a licensed social worker, y'all, and so much more. She brings such a wealth of information to the table, and we are delighted this afternoon that she's taken out her lunch to be with us to talk about this thing called self-care. So welcome. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. It is a great hump day Wednesday. This is something that is so needed for myself. Like you said, I'm a licensed master social worker, which means that I work with people all day long. I started out at DHR. Then I've worked at the prison, a lot of stressful jobs to where I realized how important it was to do self-care. Because if we don't manage our time, if we don't manage our bodies, our minds, and everything else, we'll find ourselves in health risk and all type of other things. So it's so important. Most of us work with people as far as, especially in the social service realm, we're always just giving of ourselves. And so last night we were actually on, and I think our conversation kind of led into mental health, which was the one thing that stood out to me the most when we start talking about self-care is boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are going to talk about how to set those boundaries, how to set up a regimen for yourself that's going to allow you to stay healthy mentally and physically. And so when I started thinking about self-care, and it was like, what really is self-care? So of course I do, I'm a research girl and I like media and all those things. And and something came up that just really, really made me understand. It says the thing about self-care, it is a practice that requires you to choose to do it. It will not happen unless you intentionally make space for it. But the results and the effort are worth it. With self-care, you will experience more joy, more rest, and a soul healthy life. And that's the main thing. We have to make time for ourselves. In the society that we live in, we're running the best thing. We're running job, work. People have kids, obligations. When we meet somebody, their kids' football season and things of that nature, we have to be intentional in making time for ourselves. And it was strange because I was talking to one of my friends the other day,
Hmm.
and we were talking about, especially in the African American community, how self care has been looked at as being selfish. It was always the things of, you keep your own kids, you don't do this. So it made parents feel guilty for
Yep.
wanting time away from their children. And it's not that you're neglecting your children. In order for you to be a healthy mom, to raise healthy kids, you have to be rested in those times. So I think in our community, we have to stress the fact that we're not going to stress. We are going to take care of ourselves. We are, especially as Black women, we wear this S on our chest that
Whew.
we feel like we have to have everything accomplished in a certain amount of time. The best word that I've ever learned, literally in the last 2 years, because I didn't know how to do it, was to tell people no. I just
Mm.
can't do it. And it doesn't mean that you're selfish. It's, hey, today is my day off. And I never had any of those because, like I said, in our community, most of us are going to be the breadwinners. We have so much other stuff that we're taking on. This is the first year of my life in 7 years that I was not working 7 days a week. And
Wow.
I don't even know how I managed. And I didn't even realize how stressed I actually was until I stopped doing it. So now I've learned to manage my time.
Hmm.
So on Saturday mornings, sometimes, no, I don't want to do this for you. I don't want to help my best friend move. I love you, friend, but find somebody else to help you. Because we feel like we are being selfish if we don't do those things.
That is so true. And even just in that moment when you said that 7 days a week, right? That you because I didn't even think about, when we volunteer to do things, when we're active in the community, and when we say, yeah, friend, I'll help you pack and move, like, ooh. But that does mean that we're active 7 days a week. My me day has tended to be Sundays. But then even when I think about Sunday, it means cooking, it means doing, laundry. So that's still not giving that self-care, that moment to truly refresh, and how desperately we need that. Chanel, you hit the nail on the head, cuz as people, especially Black women, moving around in the community, working many times multiple jobs,
Yeah.
having household responsibilities, trying to maintain romantic relationships. And then please don't say babies are in school and we have PTO meetings and all sorts of community based volunteer opportunities. So, where is the self in that? Right? Like, we're showing up for other people, but the fact, and I put it in the comments, we have to choose to
Yes.
care for ourselves.
Mhm.
And that is such a reflective moment, that I hope that our viewers are going to, kind of take a pause and say, you know what, when do I really just do me? People say, well, I'm doing me, but what does doing me look like?
What does
Right.
it really look like? And when we think about it, a lot of times, like, oh, I'm going to the nail shop, I'm going to get my hair done, and people look at that as reflective self me time, and it is, but it's so much more than that, because we can look good on the outside and not be healthy on the inside.
Hmm.
And when you're stressing yourself thin in those aspects, sometimes, like, the one of the biggest things I sought out to unplug for a day, that's like social media, telephone, just take yourself away from all the elements, because if it's something that's going to happen, that's going to require you to be somewhere or to do something, even respond, sometimes you don't even. I have a bad habit, and we talked about this, Lydia. I respond to work emails because our attorneys, they're up and they work late at night, and that they probably had their me time during the day, but
Right.
I'm working. But it's like, okay, I don't want this to get behind, or I got to get this done, or I don't want to forget it. I'm going to, not this week, because I'm still working, because everything is a process. It is so
Hmm.
hard for us when we've done stuff for so long to actually take the time to say, I'm going to pull back from this. So I'm
Absolutely.
slowly putting my phone on vibrate, and eventually I'm going to just disconnect from it altogether. But I don't want to do it into a way it's going to also cause me to have anxiety, because we have to realize ourselves and who we are. And I know things being behind at work or feeling like they're behind, and they're not. It's just like 2 hours. If I just wait another 2 hours to answer, it'll be okay. But I'll wake up out of my sleep and do it. So start knowing where you are and start
Mm.
slowly making those changes.
That word anxiety,
Mhm.
I'd never thought about that. Honey, you are just telling us a whole lot of things today to observe about ourselves,
Mhm.
because I never thought about that. You said putting your phone on vibrate. Now I consistently do that, for a number of reasons. I'm on constantly, like, on Zooms and doing broadcasts like this one. So, I'm trying to make sure that I'm not disturbing if I'm in a meeting, that, my phone, and we've all been in Zooms or in meetings, and you hear this the phone going off. And I'm one of the ones in church. I'll be like,
Yeah.
so
And
we
see,
ain't know
for
we were
me,
coming.
literally, my anxiety is so high. I always think, what if something happens in the middle of the
Right.
night? What if, so I don't want to disconnect my phone. But then what I'm learning is nothing's happening to my parents or my siblings. It's the people from work.
Right.
And so I just feel like the minute I turn it off, something's going to happen. I'm not going to find out about it till it's on Facebook the next morning or something. So we have to literally know ourselves and start working on that from the inside out. And that way we don't put ourselves in situations to where you stress your, I'm thinking I'm cutting my stress down by cutting off my phone, but I'm
Mhm.
adding stress because I'm stressing about not hearing my phone ring. And you know, if you text me, I'm gonna text you right back, because I'm literally, it's that thing of I gotta make sure that I get everything done. And tasking yourself like that is so taxing on your body. And I know that,
Okay.
and I'm working on it. But like I said, everything is a process because I've just been so used to being able to do it. And it could also be when you start looking at where you come from and things that you're not used to. I was in a prison for 8 years. I didn't have my phone. So now that I actually have access to it, I'm like, I don't ever want to lose this again. So those healthy, I think the first thing we need to do is see where we need our breaks,
Hmm.
what things for us, prioritize what is important and what's not important. And once we get that list going, okay, what can I cut out? What can I not do? What are some things I might can task to other people? Because if we continue to carry the loads that we do,
My
you will
goodness.
burn. You know, when you hear the word burnout, it was used a
Hmm.
lot during COVID with the nurses and things, but burnout is something that has been years down the road. I remember being a young social worker. DHR burnt me out. I didn't
Mm.
know what it was. The only thing I knew is that I no longer liked the profession. And so I actually stepped away from it for like 2 years, but I started to miss it. So that was showing me that it wasn't
No-
that the profession, it was the job,
Yep.
because I didn't know how to not take calls at night. And you're on, a lot of us, if you're on jobs where you are on call, you cannot even plan your life. So you're constantly going and going and going, and you never take time to be like, okay, this is my day. And we have
So
to be
now,
intentional with that.
absolutely, being intentional is super important. And I want to just kind of reach back to something you just said.
Okay.
We're constantly going and going and going. Like, what is the impact physically and mentally on us if we just keep going and going and going?
Physically, your body is just going to wear down. It's like when people say, I just got sick. I know it. No, because your body starts to give you all of these signs that you need to stop.
Mm.
You're feeling tired, but you're pushing yourself. People find themselves energy drinks, pills, and all this other stuff to keep them going. Your body will shut down on you. Physically, your body is going, it can only take so much and it'll shut down on you. Your mental health is going to be in disarray. You're stressed out. Stress, of course, is mental, and it's going to be show up in you in a physical way as well, because that's something that's going, your mind is going to control everything. So physically and mentally, that's where the actual term burnout is coming from, because your body is burned at both ends and it's going to eventually shut down. That's people when they easily get colds and the flu and things of that nature and just little bugs, it's because your immune system is so low and it's not being able to fight this stuff off because you're stressed. Stress lowers your immune system.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why you'll find somebody that's relatively healthy always catching a cold, always having a stomach virus, because you've just lowered your immune system because your body is not getting what it needs, most which is rest. When I hear people say that they go off 4 or 5 hours a day as far as sleep, I'm like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Really, 7 to 8 hours is something that's required of your body to rejuvenate itself. You'll start seeing it in your skin. It's so many places that stress shows up at that we don't even recognize. We'll spend all this money going to the dermatologist when you probably just need to go to sleep.
Mm.
Rest your body. And those are things that we have to preach in our community because we are one of the most restless communities that we have. And it's because we do have bigger burdens to carry as far as jobs, finances. When those extra 16 hours come up for the week, we want to get that because we're trying to financially take care of our families. And it's probably needed, but we also have to set those boundaries of saying, hey, look, I need these extra hours. Maybe I can't do the whole 16. Maybe I'll just do 8 of them and take that other day to unplug.
Chanel, when you say probably needed, when it comes to our finances, when we think about what our children, because a lot of times we're doing extra hours and saying, well, I don't want my baby or my children to experience the same things that I did growing up. And so we're coddling them, if you will, entitling them to things like Gucci shoes and
Right. They
honey and
don't own those in
motherfucking book
our words.
bags. Like, what are you doing? But then when you think about it, are they really going to remember the things, or
No,
will they remember the time
the
that was
time.
spent?
And that's when we talk about prioritizing
Mhm,
because your son might want the Gucci shoes,
mhm,
but he's going to remember you not being in his football game.
mhm.
He's going to remember you not making those important events, and that'll carry on into another area of their mental health when they're 34 years old trying to realize what happened or why they feel certain ways. It's like, oh, my mom was never there, my dad was never there, and all the other kids' parents were there. It's those type of things that we have to be so aware of.
And so when we think about self-care as something that we could model as a behavior, how important is that for us to teach the next generation to be able to take a minute to just just breathe?
And unwind, and that's something that we don't do because the same hustle and bustle that we put on ourselves we put on our children. You
Mm,
get kids that'll play basketball, football, baseball. They're leaving school. They're going to practice. They're coming home. They're up. We don't even give them the opportunity because we're not aware of how important it is for kids. And so they don't wake up in the morning. They don't have that time. Sometimes self-care is those 10 minutes in the morning that you just sit on the toilet and nobody bothers you. You know, some of the best times that I've unwind have just been in my car, which for women nowadays we kind of don't want to say is a good idea because it's for security reasons. But
right.
some people that's really the only time that they have as parents. I have a friend, and she was like, "I feel so bad because I literally wanted to eat this." And if I don't sit in my car and eat it, I won't be able to eat it when I get in the house
Yep.
because the kids are gonna be they've already eaten, but they want this. So just making that time. Don't care about what it seems like. What our grandparents have told us. You take care of your own kids. Drop those kids off somewhere.
Hmm.
Don't go, but teach them also, hey, take 20 minutes today after you do your homework, go outside, listen to your music. And maybe if we kind of think about it, the kids today probably have more downtime than we do. They play games all day. They model probably what we need to be doing. They take the time out. They only bother you when they want to bother you, but you don't bother them because they're in their rooms, they're locked away. And it's this technology age. We don't know how it'll manifest in the long run. But right now, kids really do take time out for themselves. They are playing their games. They don't do as much outside stuff, which being outside
Right.
is a great self-care. When and I think it was something we've talked about. I was so stressed at one point. I was like, okay. And then it was COVID, which has probably
Mhm.
caused a lot of people that did certain self-care maintenance things not to be able to go get your pedicure and your manicure, get your hair done, all that stuff. So it's like, what do you do? Oh look, I try to even make it blacker so it'll get bigger. But so you didn't have all of that. So it's like you're sitting
Mhm.
in the house. Amazon had come about 5 or 6 times. I didn't have any more money left for Amazon. So it's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
I went home that weekend and my mom gave me a flower. And I started literally, it's beautiful now, but I started
Yes.
this
Come on,
yard.
Green Dog.
Yes, I started this yard trend. And so after that, I got me a hammock. And it
Okay.
was just like, I being outside, I was people like, you cut your own grass. To me, that is my decompress. I was cutting grass. It wasn't even no grass to cut, but it started being something that was so relaxing to me.
Mhm.
Find out what you like outdoors, walking, listening to music, and being safe at the same time, but doing all that stuff because it's so much freedom and outside, and
Yes.
it's free. I mean, the air is free. We can go outside versus because you can also pick up habits that are going to become unhealthy in the long run. Like I couldn't keep ordering from Amazon as a self-care method
Right.
because it's like, you'll see people that are like, oh, I got all these boxes and all this stuff is coming. You will eventually, you have to find something that is reasonable and it's something that you can continue to do, because when you run out of money, it's like, okay, now I'm back stressed out because I can't keep ordering
Right.
online. And I think a lot of people went through that. Then you'll find the unhealthy of people will start drinking. You have the
Mhm.
holiday seasons coming up, and I want people to be very, very mindful of a couple of things with the holiday season coming up. Be mindful that people have lost a lot these last couple of years. So with coworkers, friends, and family, just be mindful of where people's headspace might be as far as their mental health. People are spending the first Christmas without people they love. COVID has taken a lot from us.
Mhm.
So I think, don't look at the person in the office as a Scrooge. They could really be hurting during this time. Take that time out to reach out to people that might be alone during this time or might have lost something. Parents, do not go into a mental chaos because you can't afford the things that your children are asking for.
Mhm.
This is the most stressful time for people. I see people there online like, oh, anybody know where I can get a PS5 from? Don't worry about it. If you can't find it, don't worry about it.
Right.
But we become so stressed because we've made these holidays and other things such a big event in our lives that we don't know how to step away from them sometimes.
And Chanel, one thing that when you brought up the fact about the gifts, right? And we
Mhm.
think about all of the things that kids may want. I was actually just having this conversation this past weekend. I'm like, the older they get, honey, the list may get shorter,
But
but
they
the bill gets
desire.
yeah. So when we think though about what you just said, that PS5, if that is the desired thing, but it's not available, why are we taking extra shifts to cover an expense of a toy? Because think about the impact that or if it even had an impact on us as children, right?
Right.
Like, are we buying the PS5 for the child, or are we buying the PS5 because we want our child to be able to tell another child that they have a PS5? So
And
basically, for other people,
for other people. And
right?
that's exactly what we come down to. And that's where all the stress comes from. And so you're out here, you're buying things that you literally cannot afford. And you look up in January, now you've added another stressor because your bills and all this stuff are behind. We just cannot continue to do holidays that way. Start finding things that are going to work for you and your family.
Yes.
Traditions, I think one of the best sermons TD Jake preached was about breaking traditions. And traditions also are strongholds and things
Yes.
that families have on themselves, and it's the stress that we've been born into. And
Mhm.
so now, especially the kids are not really like the kids that we grew up with. We did, getting a bicycle and riding up the street. We just really don't see kids out there. Start bringing some of that stuff back to them. And if we change the way we think about things, they'll change the way they look at them as well. And
Absolutely.
we cannot, I stress so much this holiday season, people are stressed, people are hurting, lonely. It's so many things that we have to take into account before you start talking to your coworker about buying your child a PSP. See where these people are. Be friends during this season. Of nothing else, let's be a friend to somebody,
Yeah.
and just be mindful more than anything. Just be very, very mindful. And just like we're saying in life, we set boundaries. Start setting those boundaries with your kids and be honest with them.
Mhm.
Hey, we just can't do this year. Whatever it is, we have to. The biggest thing in self-care is boundaries, and that's with everybody.
Yes.
I have no problem if somebody calls and asks me, can I do something? No, I cannot. And I might be able to catch you next week if you still, need some help with this or whatever, or give you some options, but I
Right.
can't do it because I was literally burning myself out continuously. Yes, 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 yes. And
Mhm.
then the thing about it, a lot of us, we think, our blessings come from helping people, and they do, but
Mhm.
not with a grudge of heart. Because if you called and asked me to do something I don't want to do, and
Yeah.
I'm mad the whole time that I'm doing it, it's like, why even do it?
Right.
And so
And
I
so
think,
it's really important for us to consider these things when we talk about like the holiday season.
mhm,
Even when you brought up the idea of breaking traditions, I ran into a friend yesterday. We hadn't seen each other in a while, actually since COVID, since last year. And I saw her and we just hugged, and she was like, "Oh, I miss you." I said, "I miss you too. We're going to go to lunch after the holiday." And the reason it's going to be after the holiday is because she said she and her family are going to New York for Thanksgiving. I said, "Really?" I said, "Oh, you get a chance to take a picture with the big tree, you know."
mhm,
And she said, "Yeah." And they're going to do the Macy's Day Parade and things like that. But the other part of that is her story around Thanksgiving and why these trips. She said this is the third year that they've been able to go to New York. She said, because Lydia, Thanksgiving used to be on me. Her husband's family and her family, everybody descended into their home. People, yeah, folks bring, side dishes and things like that, but the dishwashing, the major sides, the main course, these are things, and making sure that folks have accommodations that can't stay in the house, making sure
right,
that people are
mhm,
transported and things like that. Those are things that fell on her. And she said, "Lydia, I am just super grateful that this is going to be the third time that we're able to celebrate like that." So just the very thing that you said about breaking traditions
to
can
do
help
something
take some
different.
of that weight
Mhm.
off of our shoulders. And hey, let's do friendsgiving,
Yes,
or like you said, let's share the load. Like, don't just bring those check sodas over here, honey. Look, I need some macaroni and chicken.
because I've been calling my mama already, like, because I don't cook, and nobody in our family does. She needs to be getting it together. She start early, she'll get finished before Thanksgiving. But seriously, and that's something. But and then you have to with the older people, because we've been trying to do something different. They are so set in the ways of,
Yes.
hey, this is how it's supposed to be. Because again, those are those traditions that everybody, hey, why don't y'all come? No, we don't. I don't want to come to your house. We want, and so
Yep.
don't complain when all of that stuff is on you. Set your boundaries. Hey, I'm not going to do this year.
Right. We're ordering our turkey. I'm not gonna make it this year. I'm gonna have someone cater. There's some
Right.
wonderful caterers all across the Black Belt and across the state of Alabama.
Mhm.
So, and they will cater your Thanksgiving meal,
Mhm.
right? Your day off is their day on.
And
So,
that's what it's about. But
yeah,
until, like I said, we start actually knowing. And then, like, I watched my mom even on Thanksgiving. By the time everybody else is eating, she's tired.
yep,
She's been up since 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, cooking, making sure everybody's she and doesn't even really eat because you've cooked all that food and you don't even want it.
Mm-hmm.
And so though we just have to maintain. And I see that our time is running. I just want to tell
Yes.
people some things that are good self maintenance
Okay.
that you can do and they don't cost anything. One of the things is to energize your body.
Mm-hmm.
That stretching, swimming, running, yoga, whatever physical activity that you enjoy. Do an activity mindfully and slowly. What does that mean? Savor the moment. Whatever you're doing, take that and just don't be in a rush. Don't, like how we kind of feel sometimes when we're in the meetings and time, like we're looking at like time's about to run out. Take the time to enjoy that last scoop of ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
And just savor those moments. Walk. Of course, we know walking is very, very good for stress. Reflect on your personal mission statement. What actually is that? If you don't have a personal mission statement, create you one today. Because
Yes.
that mission statement is basically saying what you want to do, how you plan on, who you are, your mission statement. Every company has a mission statement,
Mm-hmm.
what they're going to do. You need to have your own personal mission statement for your life and reflect on that and reflect on it daily. Enjoy a piece of chocolate or a glass of wine. Better yet, just enjoy both of them together.
Right.
Sleep. Take you a nap. I am the queen of napping. Anybody that knows me know I can take me a nap like 2:15 in the day. It just gives me energy. That's why I can be up working and I can get stuff done because I'm napping. I will take me a good nap. When I was working in prison, when I would go to lunch, I go in there and let my seat back. I take me a nap in the car. I'm rejuvenated for my next 4 hours.
Mm.
Writing in a journal. We can decompress our day sometimes just by writing down what we've been through. That way we're not holding it all in. So we've gotten it out. If you don't have it, if you don't feel like you want to spew on somebody for that day, you've kind of written what you want to say and it releases everything that's in your mind. Get quality time with your quality person. Hang out with somebody that you love. You don't have to go far away. It could actually be on the phone, just talking. And I'm not going to go all through all of them, but the last one I really, really like is
Mm-hmm.
just be still.
Yes.
Just be still. Sometimes just take a break from it all and just sit in your space and just be still. So,
Well, I am so excited that you have shared these things with us. You are truly a breath of fresh air, and you have such a wealth of knowledge that you come to the table with, and that we are so glad that you're on the Selma Air team as a wellness navigator with She's Ready. So, viewers, listeners, if you're driving along in your car and you hear us talking, some of the great things that she suggested and that we could start to incorporate today. Start a journal. Don't be afraid to just take a nap, right? In other countries, it's the end thing to do, honey. That's what a siesta is, right? So that's and when you consider the health impact of taking a nap,
yes,
and that taking those breaks can help us to live longer, who doesn't want to live longer, y'all?
to
We want
take
to
more
wake up.
naps.
Yes.
Yes.
Someone else. Like, so take a nap, plan for the holidays. If you know that your home is going to be the home that is hosting your family,
Yes.
plan ahead, start plotting out your menu, ask for help. Don't be afraid to call a caterer for some of your side dishes or your main dishes. Honey, don't be afraid to call a caterer for the whole doggone
Whole
meal.
thing. Yeah.
Listen, and call a decorator. If you love to have your home look like that people are walking into a fall celebration, call a decorator. You have local resources available to
Mhm.
you who can help take some of the pressure off as we consider the two very important words: self care.
And
Audre
being,
Lorde said, yes, that self
yes.
care is not selfish. So I do want to invite you, Chanel, to just share with us because, see, you talked about what we can do. I want to know, what do you personally do? You said about outside, but what are some of the other things that you do to take care of yourself?
like I said, my main thing is outside.
Okay.
I love to plant flowers.
Mm.
I'm on my hammock and other things. I have really good friends. Like
Yeah.
we take those moments of just having girl time. It could be a Sunday afternoon. It doesn't have to be anything. And we'll literally get on the couch and watch Netflix. And de just brief our week. We're not going
Mhm.
into Monday heavy.
Mhm.
We are sitting, we're talking. We you don't have to have wine. We'll sometimes have something a little stronger, but we are literally getting all of this stuff off of us.
Mhm.
The other thing, I don't mind asking for help. Like I will call you and be like, hey, can you help me? Those are things that we have to stop feeling like we are um bothering people. If we the same people that'll ask you for help feel just as comfortable asking them to help you with something.
Mhm.
And so, and I also like listening to music. And it's crazy because I don't listen to music in my car. And when I'm in my car, that's actually some me time. So
Okay.
when I'm in my car, music is not playing. If I'm on a long drive, like when I go to my parents' house, I will not turn music on.
I thought I was the only one that did that. That's why I look like that. Like, wait a minute. Okay, so I am not alone. I
Yeah.
literally will drive everywhere with nothing on.
Just
Yeah.
in silence. And then when I'm home, I like trap music.
Okay.
Young G's to be playing, they know, and because it puts me in my own little motion. Because also, what we have to realize where self care comes in is
Mhm.
most of the time in the roles that we play, we have to be totally different than how we are sometimes. So
Yeah.
sometimes self care is just being able to be who you are.
Yeah.
And so to have those moments of like, this is Shnell, I'm at my own place. I don't have to worry about somebody coming up with I can be A-ing in the background and I ain't got to worry about being on live anywhere. And just being able to relax in your own space, create that space for yourself. And like for me,
Absolutely.
this is the last thing, when we started working from home, be very
Mhm.
careful for working from home and don't work all over your house because
Mhm.
what you end up doing is you take away your personal space. This is my desk area I created. I only work in this area. I don't
Yeah.
work anywhere else. Actually made a little nook in my room because sometimes in the middle of the night I'll wake up and start working. But I only, this laptop does not leave this desk.
Mhm.
Because if you start working all over your house, what'll end up happening is
You never
you are
turn off.
not, you will
Yep.
take away your own personal space. So be careful for those people that are still working from home. Be very mindful of working in your bed. That should be your sleep spot.
Mhm.
My couch is my nap spot. My kitchen table is my eating spot. My desk is my working area.
So you have truly given us some gems to live by. And again, we just thank you so much for taking your time out today to join us. Y'all, friendships are important. We have a
Mhm.
viewer that says yes, she loves the fact that her friendships are super important. Being
Yes.
able to take the weight off,
Mhm.
planning ahead, y'all, we can't say it enough because when you fail to plan, you
Plan to fail.
plan to fail. And we don't
Yes.
want anybody to fail. Wellness Wednesday was launched out of a real need for
Mhm.
us to equip ourselves with facts, information, and resources that are related to us being well, regardless of whether it's our mental wellness, our sexual wellness, or our general health. Y'all,
That's right.
Black women we carry a lot, not only the household responsibilities, but health wise. We are
Mhm.
17 times more likely to experience an HIV positive diagnosis than our white counterparts. We die from heart disease. We die at a higher rate from things like breast cancer, which is
Mhm.
totally preventable when we do the proper checks. Cervical cancer, when we do the proper checks, right? Survivable, but we've got to make sure that we're getting our screenings. So I do want to, as we wrap up, I know that we've gone 10 minutes past time, but this is an important
It
conversation
is.
when it comes
And
to self care.
mhm. And do not forget, if you need or feel like you need to seek some type of help outside of yourself,
Yes,
you can go to Psychology Today. You can
yes.
go into your local, you can just type in therapist,
Mm-hmm.
see somebody, It's no reason why we should continue to suffer in silence when there's help out there.
Absolutely.
Mental health is so important. It's really going to determine what your physical health is over time. Do not be ashamed, do not be afraid. Go to these sites and find you a therapist. On Psychology Today, you can literally go through and just pick out somebody that actually fits your build. They'll tell you everything about them, um what their that what they the word I can't even get out. But it'll tell you everything that they do and what's about them. And so go, please, please, guys, especially this time where the holidays are coming, do not suffer mentally in silence. There is so much help out there. Please get a therapist if you need one, because all of us, we're not needing medicine. Not needing some of this stuff. Sometimes we just need somebody couch to lay on. Do
Mm-hmm.
not deprive yourself of a wonderful life by continuing to deal with mental health issues that you want to address.
Absolutely. So, again, thank you. And thanks to all of those who have tuned in. We want to encourage you to pick this video up and just share it. You can share it into groups, you can share it on your own personal page. We want to share this information, and bit by bit, we want to increase the wellness, not just across the Black Belt of Alabama, not just across the state of Alabama, but we want to share this information with everyone.
So,
Social media has no bounds, y'all, and we can use it for good. And that's exactly what we're doing at Selma Air. We are proud to produce Wellness Wednesday. We broadcast every Wednesday, 12 noon, on our Facebook page. So that is facebook.com/Selma Air. You can also view this same show on the Black Belt Wellness Center page. That is our community outreach arm of Selma Air. So, again, thank you, Miss Nevins, for joining us. Thank you, Shnell.
yes,
And until next Wednesday, y'all, please, please, please be well.
be well.